All right, so I'm looking at our two nonfiction pieces that we've written so far, and here I really like what you've done with bats. All right, hey reader, did you know that bats are mammals and not birds? I think that's a great opening. And then you have some headings here. We have bat food. You know, bats are omnivores because they eat berries and fruit and mosquitoes, beetles, moths, flies. Okay, and then you have how bats sleep. Bats can sleep upside down at daytime and are awake at night. And that means they are nocturnal. How bats see and more. Bats need to fly so they can go places because they can't walk on their feet because their feet are small. They can see in the dark. Now, where bats live? Bats live in caves because they can see in the dark at night. Now you know about bats. Have fun. So, I think this is a great writing sample. Now, let's pick something that you may want to do for your next writing piece. What's something that you think could follow this that you would want to write about?
Birds.
Birds. Some of the bird we were learning about birds yesterday. Do you want to borrow that bird book? Do you know where it is? It's in our nonfiction bin. I think it's at the very front of the nonfiction bin in the book nook. Okay. So I think this is a great sample. I'm going to keep this because I would like to show the class how we use some great nonfiction features. Actually, it just made me think one more thing. Did we add? I'm thinking maybe one more text feature we might add to this. What could you add? If you remember our list up there? We've got a title, we've got headings. Do you have a text box at all? Do you think you could add an interesting fact from bats on there, or would you rather do?
Bats are cool.
Well,
Bats are amazing. Bats are awesome.
that would be more of a statement. That wouldn't be like a text or a fact book. But what about pictures in a label or in a diagram, or pictures and labels in a diagram? Could you draw a picture of a bat? Well, you've got lots of pictures. Could you just add maybe labels to it? And then you're all ready to add or to talk about, to go and talk about birds, okay? Okay, so I'm looking at the information you have about bats, and I love your title, and your headings are fantastic. So, seeing in the dark. Bats are amazing. Bats can see in the dark very well. What's the other thing that they use to help them see in the dark, to help them find insects in the dark? Do you remember what that was called?
The echolocation.
Echolocation. So that might be something that we add to this piece. They also use echolocation where they make a sound and they listen to it bounce off the insects. You know where it is. I like that they are not birds. They may look like birds, but they are mammals. So I think that is fantastic. Nocturnal. Bats are nocturnals. That means they sleep in the day. Now, eating insects. You said bats eat insects, and you give some examples. And they said they are omnivores. Now, they also eat other things too. So they don't only eat insects. What else do they eat that makes them an omnivore? So let's think about adding those two things. We're going to add echolocation to how they help them see in the dark. All right, and then we're going to add that they also like to eat berries. That's what makes them an omnivore too. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at your writing, and you've got your picture with labels. So you talk about their feet, their wings.
I want to know which one that is.
Then you said bats eat fruit like berries. Bats eat bugs. Now I'm wondering one thing. When do bats sleep?
In day.
What does that mean then? If they sleep during the day, what kind of animal are they? If they are asleep during the day and they are awake at night, what kind of animal does that make them? Do you remember? You remember what that special word is?
At the deck, you over there at the deck.
Okay, it's on our anchor chart where we took our notes from the video yesterday. All right, but I will give you a clue. It starts with an N. Nocturnal. So if you find that word on the anchor chart, I'd like you to add maybe a text box where you say bats sleep during the day. That means they are nocturnal. Okay, just so it has a little more information than just what they eat. Okay. Okay, so I'm looking at some of your writing about bats, and I see your title is Bats. And you have eyesight. And you say, bats can see in the dark They use echolocation so they can find prey. Bats sleep at the daytime. They eat bugs, mosquitoes,
Moss and mosquitoes. Moss.
okay. They eat fruits,
Banana.
and that makes them omnivore. Okay. Now, I'm just wondering one thing here. As the reader,
Yeah.
I like how you talk about eyesight. I know what this is going to be about. And then you talk about what they eat. What could you add that would make the reader...
I know. I said food here.
Oh, you have... Oh, I didn't even see that in there. So you added in food as your heading right there.
Yeah, I can. Mr. D. The food.
All right, so I like that you knew that you needed a heading in there, so you added one in there. So I think this is some great writing, okay?
Now can
The
I
only... Yeah, you can color. The only thing I'm going to wonder is I see you have pictures up here.
Yeah.
And I know you have a label telling me what kind of bat it is. But what about some of the parts of the bat? Could we add labels to show some of the parts of the bat?
Okay.
Okay.